And there's 250 rounds with every magazine locking back and no malfunctions. And there it is, guys. Not a single malfunction in 550 rounds. What's up, guys? I've got the TX22C here. Taurus sent me this a few months before shot, and I have been doing my best to shoot the piss out of it so that I can have an informed opinion to give you guys. Just letting you know, we're not a gun review channel. I'm not trying to go that direction, but when Taurus offered to send me their new coolness, I wasn't going to turn it down. And I'm glad that I didn't. I think this is pretty cool. So for those of you guys who have not seen this, the Taurus TX22C is the compact version of the TX22. But to label it as just that, I think does a disservice to what this actually is. The TX22 is a duty-sized gun, 22 LR, that got a reputation for being one of the, if not the most reliable 22 semi-auto guns on the market. That's from the internet, but that's also from the dudes I know that shoot the piss out of guns and are actually honest in their reviews. They say that about the original TX22. The biggest gripe about the TX22 is that it's not optics compatible. There's no optics cut. I don't know anyone who has done an optics cut on that gun and had success. Then Taurus released the TX22 Competition, which was optics compatible. It checked the box of adding an optic to the gun, but it changed the form factor of the gun so significantly that it was no longer compatible with traditional holsters. It really was specifically for the competitive shooters out there, the rimfire competition shooters. It was very targeted to them. And I heard generally good things about that. It also maintained its reputation for being an extremely reliable semi-auto 22. The TX22C does the thing that the TX22 Competition did not. It puts an optic on the gun in a way that allows you to holster the gun and train with the gun like every other optics-equipped gun out there. That's pretty cool, and it maintains the reliability. So people hear the TX versus TX22C and they think, oh, it's a third of an inch shorter in the muzzle and it's a half inch shorter in the grip. No. The takeaway should be this is an optics compatible, carry-sized 22 gun, 22 auto, that is as reliable as you can get in that caliber. The features on here are significantly different, and I think they actually expand the reliability of the TX22 design. I have put roughly 2,000 rounds through this gun at this point. I've had very minimal failures. The first 800 rounds of through this gun was with Blazer 40 grain, running uncanned with this optic on there. Zero failures, zero issues of any kind. And the last 1,050 rounds that I put through this gun, also zero problems. In the last part of the testing, I went to a lower quality ammo. That is the Federal Champion 40 grain kind of 800 round bulk packs that they sell at Walmart. They're fine for range work, but they do fail. And the most common failure that I have with them is wildly inconsistent powder charges, to the point where I've had squibs in guns with that ammo, and sketchy primers. So in the over 1,000 rounds of that ammo that I put through this gun, I had 2 rounds that were duds. I say that they're duds, and I won't call them light primer strikes because when I looked at the primer on there, or the back of the case there, the rim was very well dented. So yeah, those were duds. The only other failures that I had in this gun were when I was running the gun in a way that Taurus said I shouldn't be running the gun. Okay, probably my fault there. I was running the gun canned, and I was running the gun with high velocity ammo. So specifically, I was running the gun with Federal Punch and a 22 can on there. Taurus says you can run this with hypervelocity ammo, or you can run it with a can, but you shouldn't do both simultaneously, and that kind of makes sense with a completely unlocked blowback design and a like slide velocity enhancer like a can, also putting extra velocity on the slide with hotter ammo. So that's why I say the first 800 flawless, and then I put a can on there, and I messed up the gun a little bit. That's what happened. Do some strong hand only at 100. What happened was I was shooting punch without the can, and the couple hundred rounds of punch that I put through it, flawless. No issue as long as it was just with the dot without a can on there. Then I was still running punch with a can on there, and what I started to see was light strikes, or really more accurately, no primer strike at all. I was getting a click, but there was nothing on the actual case to show it. And what was happening was the gun was not returning to battery all of the way. So that's with a can, with 22 punch, it was staying ever so slightly out of battery like that. I would press the trigger and the slide would go forward. That was my clue. All right, guys, I have lubed this gun, and I'm still not seeing that slide return all the way to battery on its own. See what I mean? I'm going to push it on the back now. It took me a little bit to figure out what was going on there, because I should have just been paying closer attention. But that's what it was. And after that range session, I just contacted Taurus and told him what happened and sent the gun back to him. They got the gun. They looked at the gun. They gave me a call and said, hey, I don't see a problem here. We're running this, and it is going into battery every time, and nothing is holding it out of battery. Do you want us to send it back to you? I said, okay, sure. They sent it back to me, and sure enough, it's going into battery. They told me they did nothing to this gun. They just looked at it, shot it, didn't see a problem, and sent it back. And you know what? Now I can't see a problem either. I haven't put the can back on it. I ran the rest of the 1,000 rounds of Federal Champion 40 grain on this, uncanned, but there's no more failures like that. So yeah. The last thing that I did after shooting those something like 2,000 rounds through it is I tested this with limp wristing, and I couldn't get the gun to stop. Is it Glock 19 reliable? I don't know that any 22 long rifle is ever going to be there if you put it in a semi-auto design, because it has to be a very light spring blowback design. But damn, it's more reliable than any of the other 22s in this form factor that I've tested. That's lockback. So one of the notable features here that I think differentiates this from the TX22 to the C, and I think that this feature actually enhances the reliability of this 22C, maybe over the TX22, is that they have taken the slide and cut out an ejection port, which is just huge. And it's 180 degrees. It's all the way around there, like, boom. That's really awesome. If you guys have shot 22 a lot, you know that when these things choke, that the cartridge or the case gets lodged in there in really weird angles because it's such a small case that it can almost tumble in the ejection port of most guns. Well, there's nowhere for this to lock up. It can't spin up and hit the top of the slide. It can't get lodged sideways and hit one of the inner sides of the slide. It'll just fall out. That's a brilliant addition to a handgun like this. And I feel like all manufacturers of semi-auto 22s in the traditional pistol format should go to this wide open ejection port style. That's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal. So I really like that. Maybe the only gripe that I have about the ergonomics on this is that I would like to see these lightening cuts here. I don't know if they're aesthetic. I presume they are to lighten the slide to offset the weight of the optic. I would like them closed off. I don't know if they can do that because they have to take the material from somewhere. But the gripe there is small, and it's a hypothetical. I could see if I was going to get on this gun quickly from the draw, I am putting my thumb in this little groove right there, and it's a very comfy spot. It's a very good tactile index point. The problem is that directly above it is another cut or recess that feels almost identical. So I could see going and pinning there, and obviously even if this was like a 9, it would probably induce a malfunction if I'm jamming my thumb into a hole that is attached to a part that's supposed to reciprocate. So hasn't happened yet, but could it happen? Maybe. Other than that, pretty cool. I can't see owning one of these and not putting an optic on it, but there are sights on there, and I think they're Glock style sights. So if you want to be a freaking caveman, live like a savage and not use modern technology, I suppose the sights are as good as they could be if you're going to use them. I'm not. So yeah, other things on here, it's got a manual safety. I think that's actually kind of cool, and for this gun, the way that I would use it, I like it. Manual safety and the actual weight and feel of the trigger, I think goes to actually adding some capability for safer draw work at speed, maybe. I don't hate this manual safety, and I haven't found that it has gotten in the way much. I have been using it, so the gun goes back on safe before it goes in the holster. And when it comes out of the holster, I am indexing my grip and swiping that safety off. It works just fine. Trigger-wise, I think this has a really good trigger. It's not super light, which is a good thing. One of my critiques about the 365 and the whole SIG series of that is their triggers are too light and too short for what I want in a carry gun. This is not that. This has a pretty decent amount of take-up and then a very pronounced wall and a pretty crisp break. So there's the wall, and then I press past that. There's not much creep there at all. Other cool thing about this trigger is it's dry fire safe, which is a big deal if you're going to carry a gun, because you can dry fire with it and not break it. That's cool. And the last cool thing about the trigger, I've not seen this on any other guns, and it surprised me when I felt this on this gun. But when you go to slide lock on this gun, the trigger is actually locked. So there's the trigger locked up. There's, right, you can see you can actually go to the wall, but when it locks, you can't. So I don't know, is it the most necessary thing? No, but I did notice when I went to slide lock and went to press the trigger again, as you do if you're shooting a lot, no matter how good you are, right? Sometimes you just don't realize that you're at slide lock. I noticed faster that I was at slide lock as soon as I touched the trigger, and oh, it's bound. I can go to that high register trigger finger and do my reload. Pretty cool. Things that I would like to see out of the future iterations of this gun. Number one, this gun is smaller than the TX22, but it is still significantly larger than the 365X that I found to be the sweet spot as far as size is concerned for concealed carry. It'd be really cool if this gun got a little slimmer. Now, folks that are larger than me with big old hands are going to disagree. You're wrong. No, I don't know. A slimmer gun carries better for me, and how a gun feels on body or how mobile that gun allows me to be is a big deal for me, and the extra girth of this pushes into my body a little bit more than the 365X that I like. The overall length of the gun, it's about the same length as a 365 XL, which is just a tad bit long for what I like, but that's not a huge deal breaker there. But the added girth and the added length in the grip could be something that would keep this from being carried for other people. And yeah, I am talking about this as a carry gun. I think that this is more designed as a carry gun than it is designed as a 22 trainer, at least from the features that I see on this. The attention to detail and trying to achieve superior reliability tells me that this is a gun that actually is good to go for that. This is far more reliable than the LCP2 in 22, like way more reliable. It would be cool to see a flush fit 15 round mag for that. I know that's a weirdo desire for me living in Colorado, but it would be cool. As it is 13 plus 1, I think it's pretty good to go. Magazines are actually really good on this gun. I think that's cool. They didn't try and double stack it. It's a slight stagger, and feeding has been super reliable. And yeah, so there it is, guys. That's those are my general thoughts on the TX22C. If you like this stuff and you want to see similar stuff, let me know in the comments. If there's something I missed or you got questions for me, also throw a comment down below. Like, subscribe, do all of the things. But the biggest thing you can do to help me out if you want to see more content from me is to go onto Patreon, link in the description, sign up at the all access level. And then at that point, you can just message me through Patreon and we'll have the long conversations because I enjoy talking to you guys. So I'm going to leave you with a reminder to keep training, stay safe. Thank you for watching. And we have lock back again.